What are the pivotal components of AWS? Elastic Compute Cloud. In case of arbitrary and volatile workloads, this principal part of AWS aids the users to rent multiple virtual computers, with which private applications can be executed. Elastic Block Storage. EBS is a storage facility of AWS that aims to reproduce the working model of customary hard drives. EBS can be connected to Amazon EC2 instances. Identity and access management. This feature is responsible for securing the rich data from external forces. IAM restricts and controls the access to the user's AWS resources. Amazon S3. Through various interfaces like BitTorrent and SOAP, S3 provides storage facility in AWS platform. CloudWatch. CloudWatch serves as the watchtower and monitors the applications that are running on the AWS cloud. As the user's applications generate various log files, CloudWatch monitors them. What is an Amazon Machine Image? The fundamental service of an Amazon Machine Image, AMI, is to provide the necessary information to launch a virtual server instance in the cloud. It is possible to launch manifold of instances from a single AMI if we require several instances with the similar configuration. Usually an AMI comprises of a default template for the root volumes like an OS and an application server. A launch-allowing module to control and manage the AWS accounts that uses AMI to launch the instances. Amazon Web Services allows its users to create their own AMIs, and it can be privately used or shared with specific lists of AWS accounts. How to scale an Amazon instance vertically. When the currently running instance is outrun by a relatively larger new instance, by spinning up, disengage the root web volume from the server, and, eventually, ditching that instance. Terminate the occupying live instance and unfasten the root volume. And at last, couple the root volume to the brand new server and note the distinctive device ID and then restart the instance. What are the best security implementations to be practiced in Amazon EC2 instances? Although AWS is packaged with the pre-programmed high-security modules, there are some advisable security measures to be taken from the user end. Using AWS Identity and Access Management, heretofore a best security tool, is intensified with the arrival of AWS. By using IAM we can control the access to our AWS stockpiles. Permit only the authorized hosts and networks to ingress the ports on the instance by regulating necessary securities. Discouraging password-based login systems is important for the virtual instances launched from the Amazon Machine Image. What is the role of buffer in AWS? The buffer synchronizes diverse constituents and thusly helps to manage heavy load of traffic in the AWS cloud systems. These components are generally inclined to work without stability to receive and process the loads of requests. So the buffer creates a symmetry to connect and pull together diverse resources to supply expeditious services. What is auto-scaling in AWS? The primary purpose of auto-scaling is to corroborate that the user have the necessarily needed number of EC2 instances to grasp the load of the application. Once the pool of EC2 instances are gathered together, which is called auto-scaling groups, the user gets to state the minimum instances in each scaling group, and auto-scaling ensures the exact amount of instances that has to be allocated. What does an Amazon VPC router do? When an EC2 is inside of the subnet, we need to enable that instance in order to let it liaise with Amazon EC2 instances that are on the other subnets in the same virtual private cloud, VPC, with the support from Amazon VPC Router. Amazon VPC Flood opens Internet gateways, subnets, and virtual private gateways, letting them to communicate with each other. What are the tools to help troubleshoot the hardware VPN configuration? The status of the VPN connection is displayed by the Describe VPN Connection Application Programming Interface, API. It includes the up or down state of each and every VPN tunnel, and it shows analogous error messages if either one of the tunnel is down. How to stop, start and terminate an Amazon EC2 instance. When an EC2 instance is stopped, the instance set out to accomplish a normal ceasing and then passages to a stopped state. When all the Amazon EBS volumes remain engaged, and we can start the instance once again later. It is not chargeable for additional instance hours while the instance is in a pause. When an instance is terminated, the instance goes through a normal shutdown. Then the fastened Amazon EBS volumes are deleted. If not, the volume delete on termination attribute is set to false mode. The instance itself is also deleted, and we can start the instance again later. What the architecture is called when someone owns private servers and also have assigned some amount of the work on the public cloud as well. This sort of cloud architecture is categorized as a hybrid cloud, since it employs both public and private clouds. To benefit from this facility and to launch a hybrid cloud systems, we need to bring forth the servers of public cloud into a virtual private cloud. Eventually, with the backing of VPN, this combined virtual cloud is connected with the local servers. What are the paramount roles of an AWS solution architect? On the AWS platform, a solution architect designs and depicts the AWS architecture and export them to the substantive cloud architecture. A solution architect contrives reliable applications on AWS that are highly fault-tolerant, and he plots dynamically scalable applications. Based on the requirements of the customers, solution architects consolidate structurally complex and multi-tier applications on AWS. They are the key players in devising strategies for the cost control and designs cost-effective programs on the cloud. Which instance type is used in case of deploying 4-node clusters of Hadoop in AWS? The Hadoop cluster consists of two machine systems that regulates the data processing and the data storage of the cluster. While the master machine operates the data, the slave machine stores it. So the configuration hinges on the basis of the workload. So in this prototype of deploying 4-node clusters of Hadoop, C4.8x large is recommended for master machine inasmuch as I2.large instance can be selected for a slave machine. If we don't want to bother configuring the instance ourselves and install the Hadoop cluster manually, Amazon Elastic MapReduce, EMR, is at our disposal, which takes care of the automatic configuration of the servers. When we plunge the data to be processed into S3, it is processed with the EMR, and the processed outcome would be delivered back into the S3. Is it possible to use S3 with EC2 instances? When an instance is supported and patronized by local instance storage, Amazon Simple Storage Service S3 could be used alongside with EC2 virtual computers. With Amazon S3's highly potent storage systems, it is viable to have access to the efficiently scalable and reliably inexpensive data storage facility. In order to carry out systems proceedings, Amazon Machine Images, AMI, could be loaded into the storage S3 and is moved back and forth between it and EC2. How to design a fail-proof and cost-effective application that recovers from Amazon EC2 instance failures. The best possible way to accomplish this is to have spot instances, because the addressed work is not uninterrupted, An already reserved and on-demand instances would be in idle mode. And as the name goes, on-demand instance is costly. So if you opt in for an inexpensive application that recovers from the unforeseen EC2 virtual machine failure, Spot instances are a wise choice. How can the data transfer be hastened in Amazon Snowball? When the mastery of the workstation infrastructure had been effectively constructed, numerous copy operations can be achieved from various terminus points. This procedure could expedite the data transference swiftly. By creating a set of small files, the heavy workloads of encrypting the larger files could be eliminated. And by removing needless hops, and thus setting up Snowball as an only active machine, we can accelerate the process of data transfer in minutes.